Hi everyone, I'm Jay. Welcome to my channel. Today I'll show you how I made these sweet potato and lentil curry patties. I'm going to have the full list of ingredients and measurements in the description box. So I've measured out 340 grams of plain flour and I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to mix in 5 tablespoons of ground turmeric and 1 tablespoon of curried powder. This will give the pastry a nice colour and a lovely flavour. I'm going to get that mixed into the flour really well. I'm not going to see much of a colour change until the water and butter are added. Now I've added my cold butter that I've chopped into pieces just to make it easier to work into the flour. I've used a ratio of half the fat to flour. I'm literally just pinching the butter into the flour. It's okay if there's a few chunks of butter. It doesn't need to be totally smooth. I'm wearing gloves because I don't want my nails to take on the colour of the turmeric. After a few minutes, the butter is all worked into the flour. I've made a little well and I'll add small amounts of cold water a little at a time until it comes together easily to form a dough. Now you can see how the water and butter has lifted the turmeric and curry powder. So that's enough water now. I'll just cover that over and leave it in the fridge for a couple of hours to rest. In the meantime, I'll start on the filling. I've peeled a medium-sized sweet potato and I'm just going to chop that up into small cubes. I'll also chop 3 cloves of garlic. And I'll finely chop 1 medium-sized onion. I'm going to be using half of a scotch bonnet pepper. I'll only be leaving in about 3 or 4 seeds because this has a serious kick to it. Of course, you can leave this out altogether and add maybe some black pepper or a milder chilli if you like. I'm going to be warming 2 tablespoons of oil and frying off the chopped onions. After a few minutes of cooking, the onions are soft and I'll add the scotch bonnet pepper and chopped garlic. Let that cook out under a low heat and then I'll add my spices. I'll add half a teaspoon of ground cumin, a half teaspoon of garam masala, a pinch of turmeric, a tablespoon of curry powder, and a teaspoon of thyme. And then I throw in my washed sweet potato. I give that a good stir to get it coated in all the herbs and spices. Now I'm going to add 113 grams of washed dried split red lentils. And I'll give that a good stir. Then I'll add 3 tablespoons of chopped tomatoes. I also finely chopped half of 1 red and 1 green bell pepper. I've mixed 1 veggie stock cube with 350 millilitres of boiling water. I'll give that a stir and put the lid on and check in between time. After just over 5 minutes of cooking, I'm just going to check on it. I give it a quick stir. I don't want too much liquid, but if I find that it's drying out too much, then I'll add a little bit more boiling water. And I'll just put the lid back on and allow it to cook. And after 35 minutes, the potatoes are soft, and as you can see, it's juicy but not full of liquid. I'll check and adjust the seasoning to my taste. I didn't add any pepper or chili flakes because I've added the Scotch bonnet pepper, and I find the veggie stock to provide enough salt. So this is perfect for me. I'll take it off the heat and let it cool right down before making the patties. And I'll also take the pastry out of the fridge at this point just to soften it up. So I'll heavily flour my surface and rolling pin, and I'll cut the pastry dough into smaller pieces just to make it easier to roll. I've preheated the oven to 180 Celsius, and I've already lined a couple of baking trays with greaseproof paper. As I roll the pastry, I move it around so it doesn't get stuck on the surface. Beaten 1 egg, and I'll brush the sides, and I'll seal by pressing down with a fork. I'll use the fork to pierce 3 air holes in the top of the pastry. Kept going until I used up all my pastry, and then lastly I brushed the patties over with the beaten egg, and I'll bake in the oven at 180 Celsius for about 20 to 25 minutes until the pastry is cooked right through. My patties took 25 minutes to bake. So there it is, delicious spicy sweet potato and lentil curry patties in a delicious flavoursome melt in the mouth flaky pastry. I hope you've enjoyed today's recipe. For more delicious recipes like this, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Look after yourselves, and I will see you in the next one.